Hi everyone, welcome to the Day 2 notes, dividing polynomials. Today's lesson is going to be dividing a polynomial by a monomial, and then we're also going to do long division of polynomials. So there's four terms that describe the four numbers in the division problem. The dividend is the number that's being divided, so say I had 8 over 2. So 8 would be the dividend because it's the one being divided. The divisor is the number that the dividend will be divided by, so in this case 2. The quotient is the number of times the divisor will go into the dividend. So it's when you divide it, the total number of times it goes in. So in this case, it would be 4. The remainder is a number that is less than the divisor and is too small to be divided by the divisor to form a whole number. In this case, 2 goes into 8 an even amount of times, so the remainder is 0. If it was 9 over 2, it would equal 4, remainder 1, because there would be 1 left over. It doesn't go in an even amount of times. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is divide by a monomial. So in this case, we have a polynomial, 5a squared b minus 15ab cubed plus 10a cubed b to the fourth, and that's being divided by 5ab. So you should notice that 5ab is a common denominator. It's underneath all the three terms on top. So what we're going to do is we're going to separate every single term on top. So we're going to do 5a squared b and put that over 5ab. Then we're going to have minus 15ab to the third over 5ab plus 10a to the third b to the fourth over 5ab. We're going to simplify every single one of these terms like we did in the past. So if I had 5a squared b over 5ab, the 5's cancel. A is bigger on top, so it's going to be a, and then the b's cancel. Minus 15 divided by 5 is 3. The a's cancel. B to the third over b is b squared. Plus 10 divided by 5 is 2. A to the third over a would be a squared, because again, remember we subtract the exponents. And then b to the fourth over b is b to the third. And that is our final answer. I would like you to pause the video and attempt part B on your own. Now notice that the notation here is a little bit different because it's 3xy to the negative 1. Also recall from the first section that we did in this chapter, if something is raised to the negative 1, it's not happy, it has to move to the bottom, so it becomes over 3xy. Because the notation could be given to you several different ways. The first way where it's actually divided by it, and then another way is where it's multiplied by the monomial to the negative first power. So go ahead, pause the video, and check your answer. Okay, so you should have gotten 6x plus 9x squared z squared. If you didn't, please make sure to ask in class tomorrow. The second part of today's notes, we're going to be dividing by a binomial, not a monomial. So in this case, we would have x cubed minus 4x squared plus 6x minus 4, and we are dividing it by x minus 2. We're going to use synthetic division, something called synthetic division, to do this. And we can use synthetic division when your divisor, this x minus 2 value, is the degree of it has to be 1. So in our case, it is x to the first, so that's the highest power of x, so we can use synthetic division. So the steps that we're going to follow, the first step, we're going to write the coefficients of the dividend so that the degrees of the terms are in descending order. So the dividend, remember, is that x cubed minus 4x squared plus 6x minus 4. So we're going to write the coefficients, making sure that we account for everything. So if we start with an x cubed, we have to have a number for in front of the x cubed term, the x squared, x, and then x to the 0, which would be our constant. So the first coefficient we have is 1. Then negative 4, 6, and negative 4. Now we're going to write the constants of the divisor out here in this little semi box, and it's going to be, if we were dividing by x minus r, we're going to take r. So in our case, because it is x minus 2, r would be 2. And then we draw a horizontal line. So then notice that the last part of step 1 is to bring the first coefficient down. So our first coefficient here is 1. We're going to bring a 1 down. Step 2, we take this 1 and we're going to be multiplying it by the r value out there. So 1 times 2 is 2. So we multiplied right there. Going down the column, we add these two numbers. Negative 4 plus 2 is negative 2. And we keep doing this same process. So now we're going to take the negative 2 that we got on the bottom, and again, we're going to multiply it by the 2 on the outside, and the answer goes underneath the 6. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. Going down, we add these two numbers. 6 plus negative 4 gives me a positive 2. Take 2, multiply it by the 2 on the outside, and that number goes out or below the negative 4. 2 times 2 is 4. Add these two together, we get 0. The number that you get at the end, that is always your remainder. So because our remainder is 0, that means x minus 2 went into x cubed minus 4x squared plus 6x minus 4. It went in there evenly. There was nothing remaining. All right, so now we have to write our answer as a polynomial. The numbers that you get in this bottom row, those are the coefficients of your answer. So the polynomial that we were dividing started as an x cubed because we divided by an x. When you take x cubed divided by x, we subtract the powers, you get x squared. So our first coefficient of our first term is just x squared. Because it's a 1, I don't have to write that 1 there, it's just x squared. Then you continue and bring the powers down. So it's going to be minus 2x plus 2, and then technically that's x to the 0, but we don't write that. So our final answer here is x squared minus 2x plus 2. So there's no remainder here, but in the next few problems we will see some examples where there will be a remainder, and I'll show you how to write that. Okay, so example 1, we are taking 2x, and this should be a 2x cubed. I apologize for that, not a 2x squared. It's 2x cubed minus 13x squared plus 26x minus 24, and we're dividing by x minus 4. Always take the opposite of whatever this is. So if it's minus 4, we're going to put a 4 on the outside, and then we write the coefficients of our dividend, so this polynomial out here. So the first number is 2, negative 13, 26, and negative 24. Again, please make sure that all your powers of x are accounted for. If they're not, we are going to have to put a 0 placeholder in the spot of where that x should have been. All right, so first step, bring down your first coefficient, which is 2. Now we take 2, multiply it by 4. 2 times 4 is 8. That goes underneath our second coefficient. Going down, we're going to add negative 13 plus 8 gives me negative 5. Take that, multiply by the 4. Negative 5 times 4 is negative 20. Going down, we add, so you get 6. Diagonally, we multiply. 6 times 4 is positive 24. Going down, you add. So again, my remainder in this problem is 0. Okay, now that we've completed that, we can write our answer. This first coefficient, or this first number, is the coefficient of the 2x. We started with an x cubed, so we bring that power down by 1. So our first x value is x to the second, minus 5x, that's where we get that from, plus 6, and there's no remainder, so our final answer is 2x squared minus 5x plus 6. Okay, let's look at example B over here. We have 4a to the fourth plus 2a squared minus 4a plus 12, and we're dividing by a plus 2. So the first thing I want to do is figure out what number goes on the outside. It's negative 2, because we have a plus 2 there, we put a negative 2. Then I write all the coefficients of my dividend, starting with the highest one and making sure they go in decreasing order. So the first thing I have is a 4. And hopefully you notice that we are missing a to the third. We go from a to the fourth right to a squared. I have to account for that missing a value by putting a 0 in place there. Then I have a 2, a negative 4, and my constant, which is 12. Okay, bring down the first value. Take 4, multiply it by that negative 2, you get negative 8. Going down the column, 0 plus negative 8 is negative 8. Negative 8 times negative 2 on the outside there is 16. Adding these two numbers, I get 18. 18 times negative 2 is negative 36. Add these two numbers, you get negative 40. Negative 40 times that negative 2 on the outside is positive 80. And add these two, we get 12 plus 80 is 92. So notice that for the first time here, our remainder is not 0. Okay, let's take these numbers that we got once we did our multiplication division, did our synthetic, and write our answer. Okay, so now that we've completed the synthetic division, we are ready to write our answer. We start with this 4, that's our first coefficient. It's going to be 4a to the, we started with an a to the 4th, we bring it down by one value, so it's a to the 3rd. Minus, my next one is 8a to the 2nd, plus 18a, minus 40, and now for the first time we have a remainder that's not 0. The way that you write your remainders, you're going to add, take whatever that number is, that's your remainder, which in our case is 92, and you're going to divide it by the divisor, so a plus 2. And that is our final answer. Okay, so notice that the next two examples are stop problems that I want you to try on your own, and I will display the answers. The first one, I will give you a heads up that you are missing your b squared terms. So remember that that's the same thing as having 0b squared, so you have to put a 0 placeholder there. If not, your answer will not be correct. So go ahead, pause the video, and attempt these two problems, please. Okay, so here are the answers. For C, you should have gotten 6b to the 3rd plus 4b squared plus 8b plus 28 plus the remainder that you should have gotten, which is 42. And don't forget to write that as 42 over b minus 2. It always goes over your divisor. The second problem was the answer is 2x squared minus 3x plus 5. If you did not get these answers, please ask your teacher, because we're going to be doing things synthetically. We're going to be dividing, finding zeros, a lot of stuff, evaluating in this chapter using synthetic, where you have to multiply and add, multiply and add. So make sure you have that pattern down. If not, ask your teachers in class tomorrow. Okay? Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye.